All right. Welcome everybody to the Peninsula Area Public Access Board meeting for Tuesday, December 13th. Thanks everybody for joining us. We are going to have a quasi-official board meeting because we do not have a quorum. Charlie is away on family business, and I'm not sure. Anthony said he was going to try to make it, but I know he's pretty busy with City of Squim stuff. So we'll just keep our fingers crossed, but we're not going to probably get to the end of our agenda, which was dealing with board elections for tonight, and really probably meant just carrying over the board as is now into the next season. So next year. But anyway, as far as roll goes, it's just Maxwell and myself. And we're not going to approve the minutes, but essentially from last month, I just went through our recording, and yeah, I guess we can cover those and get those adopted in the next meeting. From a chair report perspective, I don't have much to discuss because I've been doing a bunch of stuff, but they're all kind of detailed out in the agenda. You know what? I'm going to share the agenda too, so everybody can see where we're at. But we can go to community comments though. We have 3 members of the public, more than we have board members tonight. So thank you for coming. I'm going to share screen. Does anybody have anything they want to say? Go get a towel, please. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll just say something real quick. I appreciate where Peninsula Area Public Access was a year and a half ago to where it is today is a huge shift, and I am a heavy lift that was done by this board, and I appreciate everybody, and the path that it's on seems bright, and yeah, just thank you guys for all your hard work.
Yeah, no, thank you. Thanks for coming to the meetings. We really appreciate your support. Just Mark, so you're aware, Brendan was a former board member and is also a city council member for the city of PA. So, okay, move to community comments. In fact, sorry, I introduced you, Brendan. Maybe you want to introduce yourself as something else. I'm sorry, I took over that.
No, totally fine. Thank you, Silas.
Mark and Doug, do you want to just quickly introduce yourself since this is the formal part of the meeting?
To introduce myself, hi, I'm Doug Taylor. I work with OCA, which is what got me over kind of paying attention to Papa. And I'm interested in just kind of keeping track of what's going on with this group and maybe be able to help as time goes on.
Okay. And Mark, go ahead.
I moved to the area this summer, and I've just kind of been diving in a number of different layers and levels. One is which is the most significantly over at Peninsula College, where I've been teaching classes in filmmaking and screenwriting and a whole bunch of different things. So I'm also was doing some things at K-Squim, helping to coordinate their volunteers to do this kind of feed, live kind of recorded in their audio booth, 4-camera thing. That's how I met Silas, who started telling me about Papa. I said, okay, well, I got to connect with that because that looks like the type of thing that I really want to kind of get involved with here, and investigate whether there is a way to cultivate a partnering.
What do you need?
I was going to see if I can make it over. I'm going to mute Maxwell. Okay. Sorry, Mark.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And explore whether there's a way to partner and bring the college in, which I think would be a really ideal partnership and would be a mutually beneficial, and kind of take it from there.
Awesome. Thanks, Mark. Okay. Do Mark or Doug, do you have anything you want to say other than kind of your introduction? Sorry, I'm putting you on the spot.
Yeah, I kind of like that. So, because this may not be, but there isn't another place where I get to talk to you directly.
At the end of the meeting, there is a community comment time.
Another one at the end.
Yep. Hey,
tell you what. At the end of the meeting, I'd like to talk to you. A couple of minutes, a couple of questions I got for you about.
You got it. You got it. I'll buzz through the agenda so we can do that. Okay. We can't do item 6. I said I don't have really a chair report per se. Item 7, Charlie's not here, so no financials at the moment, but I know we're pretty good. He said that we got the latest city check for our portion of the franchise fees, and so that keeps us going, thankfully. I also have been working on getting our annual financial overview done, and there was 2 outstanding receipts that I tracked down and sent to our accountant today. So hopefully I'll have the annual financial annual overview done probably maybe the end of the year or sometime in January. Moving on to 8 is the facilities report. There was we have an alarm system in the building, and the company that manages that high tech, they called and said that a part of the alarm system has aged out, and they had to put in a new, it's how we connect to the phone line to call the police if something happened, and they had to put a new part in. Cost us $200. That's really for Charlie to know mostly, but it's good to be transparent and let everybody know what our expenses are. Any questions about facilities while I'm here? No. Okay. Mostly that's for you, Maxwell. Number 9 is programming. As Mark alluded to, I have been working on a camera and recording system for K-Squim to record interviews that they've been doing, and we are like almost pretty much done with it. I ran a test, in fact, a live test where I broadcast one of their interviews on Papa, just on a random Wednesday afternoon at 1, and it worked flawlessly. So the goal is maybe not to do them live all the time. The goal is to record them and edit them. And K-Squim is going to be in charge of recording their own things, editing their own things, and uploading them as content. So my goal is not to be managing that. But they did need a heavy lift to get to a point where they could have the equipment and the process, the workflow kind of figured out. And so that's what I've been working on. It's been great. Chat, Brendan says thanks. I just also want to make sure that nobody attended. Let me just double check. Nobody is here waiting in the waiting room. No. Okay. So yeah, that's really awesome. I think they'll start right now. They're waiting on finishing a computer build, and then they'll be able to have somebody in there. Which one of the options is that somebody, a student from Peninsula College, maybe will help them doing some of the editing and uploading and stuff. So excited about that connection. Thank you, Mark. And then I attended a TelView training. We have these 2 like boxes in our server rack called InfoView. And I've been wondering what on earth these things are. When I did the training with Eric, the former station manager, he never really told me about them, just said they were some kind of billboard system. So I finally had a chance to like ask TelView, what are these things? And can you tell me how to use them? Had a great hour-long training. We actually covered all kinds of topics from how to get our scheduling widget back on our website to sometimes we have HLS feeds, and an HLS feed is basically a feed that's coming in from another station essentially, and we just tap into it when we want and we get out of it when we want, but it's always running. But sometimes these feeds don't stay on, like for TVW, which is a Washington TV service, the state, that one goes down sometimes, and it goes down on a Sunday, and then all Sunday long we don't have anything on our channel 21. So what I discovered in my training was that there's a backup that it would revert to basically a board that we would create, and I'm envisioning putting community announcements in this thing. And so it would go to the community announcements page that we create and design. It runs all day, but we can, just like an HLS feed, we can jump in and out of it whenever we want. So it was super exciting to hear what we can do with it, and I'm excited to get back into it and work on that soon. Any questions about programming? Doug, maybe if you have a program related question, or we can wait until the end.
Well, let's wait to the end because it's about specifically a project I'm working on. So
okay,
let's
I
get
got a
this
quick
stuff
question.
done. I'm learning good stuff. Let's keep going.
Yeah. What's up? Yeah, go ahead, Maxwell.
I reached out to some people down there in Olympia about sending programming up here. They said, and I gave them your email, or at least the email, not Silas, but something else like
info at Papa,
something like that. Yeah. And they said they haven't heard anything back. Did it come in, or do I need to have them resend it?
Yeah, can you have him send it to Silas at Papa?
Sure. No problem. Thank you.
PapaOnline.tv, I think is my address. Yeah, that would be awesome. Thank you. Wait, who was it you talked to? The people at Kids, no, which channel? Sorry, just taking notes.
Christian Community Media
Oh
in
yeah,
Olympia.
Olympia.
It's nothing like intense. It's just like it's a fun show where people dance around and it's fun to look at. And so they've been doing it for 20 years.
Yeah, that's awesome. I would love to chat with him. Okay.
Okay, great.
Okay. Any other questions before I move on to 10? All right. Social media made a big advance this month. We had a strike because we aired a political forum, and for some reason, because like one of the candidates was talking about how he didn't believe the election was won by President Biden, that it went against their community guidelines. So they gave us a strike, which means we were our channel was locked down for 3 months. And it kind of was not a fair lockdown, a strike. So I finally actually wrote an appeal to it, and I won. And so our channel is back and I can upload things. But in all of that, it did make us realize that like we have to be maybe more careful about what we're uploading there, especially when it comes to politics. And maybe it should only be Papa produced, because we have helped other producers with a distribution platform, by putting it on our YouTube channel. And I'm not sure that's something we'll offer in the future. Happy to discuss it more with the board, but I just want to let the board know at least we have our channel back. So I also did just a little bit of social media, blah, 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 marketing, I guess. And we are working with the library, Knowles, to share their ONP Perspectives Lecture Winter Series, which happened. The second one happened last night, so we should be getting that out on our channel soon. But we've been airing the first one. I aired on like Mondays and Thursdays, maybe, or something like that. But I promoted it on social media, so didn't get much traction. But if you're interested in any of that, check our Facebook page. Okay, any questions here? Okay, nothing new on membership really. Doug, we did talk about your proposal the last meeting, and we tabled it because Anthony had a bunch of questions about kind of the best platform to put that on as far as like simplicity and longevity. And I'm kind of waiting to hear back from him before we decide how to move forward.
Yeah, I think letting that ride, my comment, if I said anything, was just going to be, I think we ought to let that ride a little longer, because there's an awful lot to think about before you move forward to make the best steps you would make for making the membership communication more effective. So yeah, great. We can talk about it later.
Okay, thank you. Sorry,
meeting.
we have been not super straightforward to you about a response, but it's kind of taking its time to.
Don't sweat it. You should see my returns. 6 months ago, I was supposed to let you know that.
No worries. Okay, new business. We were going to hold a board election tonight, but that is not possible due to the fact that there's only Maxwell and myself here from the board. So we will have to push that to January. Okay, 14 community comments. Anybody have any more comments? Doug, did you? Yeah,
I was going to wait until the end, so we're down to where I'm not holding off any business. A couple of things I'd like to ask a couple of questions about. I have one project I'm working on, and I've done one 15-minute set. It's for entertainment. I'm calling it PD Jam, Public Domain Jam, singing the songs that now belong to us all, so that we are not singing copyrighted music in my little bit. And I'm posting that on my YouTube, but I'd like to think about putting that with you guys too. And right now I'm doing it alone, but my hope is that if every time I do one of these little things that I say, hey, PGGM isn't a good enough, the right name yet, because I don't have anybody helping, email me and I'll give them my MSN address as part of the little video, hoping that other people will say, oh yeah, I love singing old folk songs and stuff from forever ago, and join in with us. Is that something that you would be able to find room for?
Like putting it the program on our channel?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Would you like a 15-minute format that's like a 3-song set, or a song that would be like a much shorter, maybe a 5-minute presentation? Which
Up to
would
you. It's
you,
up to you. Like whatever you feel like is easy for you to create. I'm
whatever works.
happy to take whatever you want. I mean, the goal of the channel is to reflect what people in our community are doing. So
Which is why you don't give me a whole lot of instruction, which structure helps me feel comfortable.
How about
Okay, great.
15
Maybe what we'll
minutes?
think about is doing it both ways and see what people like most.
Absolutely, that's fine. 15 minutes is probably a better chunk for our programming, because there's often times when I have a 15-minute space to fill, and
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah.
But part of what I would like to think about, because I can think about it while I'm doing things, is things that fill your little slots well, so that it helps you to create a nice, neat schedule where things end on time. So I'll work on that as the 15-minute. I have one other thing I'm going to work on. I'm working on now, and I wanted to talk about it early with you. It's an audio play series, a dramatic series in kind of a radio format with graphic support, with visual support, called Ecotopia Rising. It's set in a dystopian future coming soon to a planet near you. And our locale is here on our peninsula, and things have changed. And people have been washed out. And the survivors who stayed here are starting to call themselves Ecotopians and to form a tribe. And the story is really a lighthearted adventure about these people facing the world that's collapsing outside of their kind of place where they've been staying hid a little bit to keep out of the way of troubles. So that's a show that I'm working on. I've got a cast, I think, together, and I'd like to be producing it right after New Year's. That looks like a half-hour format. Would that be something you'd like to see?
yeah, as I said, yeah, we are absolutely open to running that.
It's entertainment oriented, and
Yeah. Have you thought about making that a podcast?
making it a what?
A podcast.
Well, Ecotopia Rising, a podcast is another thing, I think. Ecotopia Rising is a story that's told through dialogue in radio style, with background music and sound effects and that kind of thing. That doesn't sound like a podcast. I think of them as a talking ahead. Why were you thinking about it?
The podcast medium has really opened up these days, and there's actually a lot of like narrative podcast work out there, from mysteries to action adventures to sci-fi to romance. You'd be amazed if you go like any of these podcast aggregators like Podbean or Apple Podcasts or something like that, and you search for like a genre, you will be blown away at some of the stuff that's being made. Not that I'm derailing you from putting it out to Papa, but I think it sounds like a really interesting podcast in a way. So
yeah, it might be. I'm going to look into how that works too. And in the meantime, as we start, I'm going to post those on my YouTube channel. What I want to do is put an episode on with you guys that would run in a slot.
For sure.
And in that episode, say, if you'd like to catch up with earlier episodes, you can find us over on YouTube for earlier episodes. So if someone comes in later and says, well, wow, where are they in the story? They can go back and watch the whole
terrific. Yeah,
storyline.
That's cool. I love that. I love that idea of like having a podcast on our TV station. Actually, that might be an interesting way to just have something different. So
okay, cool.
Okay. Great. Thank you, Doug.
You betcha. Those were my two things I wanted to just mention to you and look at your face and see how you like it.
Anything else? Mark, Brendan, Maxwell? I have one thing to tell you, Brendan. I did record the panto, and I don't think we can play it on Papa due to how much copyright written music is in it. So sorry. Brendan and I had
all good.
We had a conversation earlier about potentially running it on the channel, and I recorded it for the people who produced it, but I just don't like yeah, there's just way too many songs in there that I don't want to have to deal with figuring out how to vet that. So, yeah, well, I don't have anything else to share. Are there any last questions from anybody? If
Well,
not, I'm
I could have a lot to say, but I think it's a little premature. So we'll just kind of see how things unfold. I'm
Yeah.
in conversation with Silas, so we'll see how things unfold. And then maybe have more things to bring to the table
why
a little
don't
bit down the road.
why don't I just adjourn the meeting and then we can just have any further questions. So I'm going to adjourn it at 6:43. Where is the? All right, I'm going to stop sharing so I can get to my controls. There we go.